Welcome back to the Saucy Picks MMA show. As always, I'm your host, Skylar Lurwell. Happy to be back, man. We took a Saturday off from the UFC and we had a Friday of PFL, but other than that, we've been off since uh, the UFC Fight Night Macau of Piotr Jan versus Figgy. Speaking of which, let's go over that just a little bit. What a night that was, I guess morning technically. I went up, hold on, let me just fix my mic real quick. So in total that night, I went up over 15 units in one night. And man, what a success that was. Let's see if I can get rid of this. There we go. Yeah, over 15 units in positive net profit. It was a phenomenal morning for me. I was driving over to St. George while I watched the card. But it worked out really well. I was having a blast, losing my mind. My wife was in the passenger seat asleep, and I was going crazy the whole time. It was awesome. Overall, a pretty good fight night. Just to recap a little bit, of course, as we all know, Piotr Jan, he pretty handily beat Davison Figueiredo, which I think a lot of people saw that coming. Stylistically, it was a great matchup for Piotr. Um, Again, he handed Davison his first loss in the bantamweight division, which I don't know. Davison was kind of on a fraudulent run there. I mean, Rob Font, not a great win. Cody Garbrandt, not a great win. Chito Vera, I mean, sure, an okay win, but I don't know. It just wasn't a good look for Davison. I felt like he was getting more credit than he deserved in the bantamweight division. So Piotr Jan won that, of course. Tabitha Ricci crapped the bed against Yan Xiaonan. She had nothing for her. Yan looked phenomenal. Song Kanan, he crapped the bed against Muslim Salikov. Wang Kong, minus 1,000 favorite. Absolutely crap the bet against Gabriela Fernandez. That's why you don't bet minus 1,000s, ladies and gentlemen. Do not bet minus 1,000s, even as a parlay piece. I mean, you got to be really, really, really careful with those big favorites. Volkan Oezdemir, Olberg. Carlos Olberg won by decision. And Zhang Minyang versus Ozzy Diaz. Zhang Minyang, he won in round one with an elbow. Not sure why Ozzy Diaz is even in the UFC. And then of course, man, let's talk about Ming Shi for a minute. Um, I did not see that coming. Frankly, I thought she was going to lose the fight pretty easily. I mean, Feng Xiaonan, Xiaonan, Xiao Kong. Uh, Stylistically, she should have been just working her over the whole time, and really, I mean, it was a close fight. I had Xiao Kahn up 2 rounds. It was a close fight. Xiao Kahn was for sure winning though, and Ming Shi pulls a head kick out of nowhere and just flatlines her. So that was pretty crazy. Carlos Hernandez, not sure Carlos won. I mean, I'm happy he got the nod, but it was a close fight. Loner Kavanagh and Jose Ochoa went to a decision. Loner Kavanagh got the nod. Quang Bang Lee got starched. And yeah, I believe Nicholas Mota beat Mahashat. But yeah, overall great night. Again, I went up over 15 units. I'm telling you, get on these daily fantasy apps. I'm on PrizePicks, I'm on Better, and I'm on Underdog Fantasy. All three. If you use the link in my Instagram bio, I can put it in the link in this as well. In this YouTube video, I'll drop it below. But sign up through that link. It'll give you. I believe on Underdog, it's a bonus match of up to $1,000. On Better, it's up to $200. And then in addition to that, it'll give you an additional $25 referral fee, or sorry, referral credit. So it'll credit $25 to you just for using my link. So I'm telling you, use the link. I give out free plays every week. You know, I drop one or two each week in my Instagram is where I'm most active. But I'm telling you, tell me on these, and we make some big money. Overall total this year, I'm up over 96 units. So it's been a phenomenal year. But again, I'm telling you, go download those apps, use the link in my bio, uh, and yeah, tell my bets. There's not much more I can say. If you're not telling my bets, I really I don't know what you're doing. I know that I don't post all of them, but I do post one or two a week, and man, they've been super successful over the last 5 6 months. But anyway, overall, UFC Macau went really well. But I'm excited. I'm excited for UFC 310. UFC 310, we've got some good fights. Uh, First off, I want to just go over these canceled fights. Unfortunately, we lost Tatiana Suarez versus Varna Jandiroba. That one I'm super bummed about. Just because I mean that's a grappler's delight right there. You know, Verna, phenomenal BJJ. Tatiana Suarez, as always, we've known her as a great wrestler. But she's got hands as well. That would have been a great fight. Bilal Muhammad unfortunately had to withdraw. Bilal's growing on me. You know, I know there's been some hate towards him, but he uh he isn't the best. I guess I'll say he isn't the best on the mic. He reminds me of a like a young Michael Bisping when Michael Bisping was on the Ultimate Fighter, and even when he coached the Ultimate Fighter, just super, I guess, rude on the mic. But other than that, I mean, Bilal, and maybe when I say on the mic, I mean the tweets. Bilal has some pretty insane tweets. Nick Diaz fell out from Vicente Luque, but we have Temba Grimbo in there now, which I'm super excited for. Taliesin Teixeira had to pull out, which he probably would have starched Lucas Dresky. And then Martin Badai versus Rizyan Kuniev. Yeah, I don't have anything to say about that fight. But starting off this card, we've got Kennedy Injekuku, Injekuku, Injekuku. There we go. Versus Lucas Dretsky. Um, yeah, overall not a super awesome fight. Kennedy probably wins this. He's a huge favorite at minus 520. Lucas Dretsky has a shot though. He has hands for sure. He just seems to just be out. I don't know, outmatched, outstrength. It just seems like he almost should be uh at 205, to be honest with you. So I mean, this is going to be a stand-up battle. Maybe Lucas Dresky tries to take down Kennedy just because of, you know, Kennedy's huge. What is he, 6'5"? Oh, Lucas Dresky 6'4", so he's big as well. But I could see Lucas Dresky trying to grapple. Maybe I don't think it's going to work out for him just because Kennedy has, you know, he has standing guillotines and ground and pound finishes, and his takedown defense isn't terrible. But the pick here is going to be Kennedy and Jack Chukwu. Hands down. I think he's probably going to come in here and most likely KO Lucas Dresky. But who knows? You know, maybe I'm looking past Lucas Dresky. He just hasn't been super. I guess neither of these guys have been super promising in the UFC, especially as of late. But the pick will be Kennedy here, and I'm going to steer clear of all betting here. There's no lines that I'm interested in this fight at all. So the pick is Kennedy. Okay, moving on to where I feel like the card actually starts. We've got Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. Love this fight. I really, really love this fight. I don't think Chase Hooper should be a minus 770 favorite. Holy cow, we've never seen him be that big of a favorite in his life. But I guess against 40-year-old, 42-year-old, almost 43-year-old Clay Guida, Chase Hooper is a minus 770 favorite. That's crazy to me. Pretty shocking to be honest. But I mean, maybe minus 770 isn't warranted, but I'd put him at minus, 200, 250. It's probably warranted. Chase Hooper, he's a phenomenal prospect, especially these last couple of years. Kind of a Steve Garcia loss woke him up, and he was like, okay, I got to get serious about this. So he moved up to lightweight, and he's been on a run since lightweight. Um, kind of a grappler's delight in this one as well. Clay Guida, of course, we know a phenomenal wrestler. Chase Hooper, really good BJJ, but Hooper's hands really coming along. They are slowly coming along, but they are getting better. Each fight that he's in, we see his hands a little bit more, a little bit more. We saw against Slava Claus in his last time out. You know, he dropped Slava Claus in the first round, which was awesome. It was a huge, I believe, it was a big right hand. It might have been a left, but either way, a big shot from his hip, and he drops Slavikov. Uh, um, Clay Guida, he's gonna probably do what he comes in, and he's gonna be, bobbing and weaving and almost that peekaboo style with his hands up high, and he's gonna probably try and wrestle. I mean, I think that's a mistake for him to go in there and try and wrestle against Chase, but overall, I mean, there's not really a great path to victory for Clay Guida here. You know, if he wrestles, then he's on the ground where Chase is phenomenal. If he strikes, Chase has a significant reach advantage in 4 inches, and then his height advantage in 4 inches as well. Uh, Chase has just maybe the clinch game. The clinch game could be really good for Clay Guida here. Get him up against the fence, pummel against the cage, and just eat away at the minutes. But I think Chase Hooper's the side for me here. At minus 770, I hate it. I hate that number. Hate that line. I mean, really, anyone in the UFC at that line, I'm going to steer clear of. But maybe a Chase Hooper by submission. I don't know if I could see a KO happening. Maybe a ground and pound, but Clay Guida is such a spazzy fighter that he's hard to control on the ground enough to, um, I guess, really control enough to ground and pound out. So I could see Chase Hooper by submission, either from his back or, finding a sweep, getting on top from the mount, something along those lines. But Chase Hooper's the pick here. Honestly, I love Chase Hooper. He's, 25 years old. We've watched him grow up. I want to say he was in the UFC at 20, 21 years old. We've watched him grow up. I really love this kid. I'm excited to watch him fight, and I think a win over Clay Guida would do good things for him. So yeah, I think Chase Hooper's the side for me. I'll be steering clear betting wise on this fight as well because I could see a Clay Guida by decision, just eating away at minutes. Laying in the guard of Chase Hooper. He finds a takedown, lays in the guard. So Clay Guida by decision is live, but and if I was to pick a side to bet, that's probably the side I'd be on as a Clay Guida by decision. But I think Chase Hooper will be too much for him, so he'll be the pick. Michael Chiesa, Max Griffin. So plus 130 on Michael Chiesa. I love that line right there. I was doing some film study on Max Griffin today, and Max Griffin is really not that good. He has here's how I'll put it. He's an opportunistic wrestler is the best way to put Griffin, and when he is in that opportunistic spot where he can wrestle, he's really not that good at it, Um his really low volume. He has okay boxing, not great. Really all around his skills are okay. They're not really that great. I do think Max Griffin's boxing is better than Michael Chiesa's. But man, if Michael can find a way to get this to the ground or even stuff a takedown, switch to the back and find control on the ground. I think this is Michael Chiesa all day long. I was watching Max Griffin against oh man, I'm just spacing his name now. It'll come to me. Jeremiah Wells, I believe it was, in his last fight out. And Max Griffin just does not look that good. His boxing is really slow. I mean, it's slick, and he's able to read shots and have some head movement, but it's slow. Again, his grappling and wrestling is pretty opportunistic, and only if that opportunity presents itself, he won't really push for it. He's really low volume. He does not throw a lot of strikes, and he's older. He's older. I just noticed that he's older than Michael Chiesa at 39 years old. I really think Michael Chiesa at plus 130 is a great line here. Um, but it's got to be Michael Chiesa finding a takedown, finding control time, finding the back, slipping in a rear naked choke or ground and pound. So I really think the side here for me is Michael Chiesa. I was not impressed with Max Griffin. Haven't really ever been impressed by Max Griffin. He's never been that good of a fighter. So I really think Michael Chiesa is the pick here for me. Plus 130, I don't know if I'll get to. I love the line, but I think there are more trustworthy underdogs on this card, so I don't see myself putting money on Michael Chiesa on this one. However, I wouldn't be mad at it if you did put a unit on plus 130 Michael Chiesa. It is a little bit of a scary fight though, just because both guys are so old. So I would say a fairly unconfident pick is going to be Michael Chiesa here for me. So moving on, we have Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. Got to be honest with you. Again, another underdog that I don't mind. Joshua Van, he's a good fighter. He's a young fighter. As you can see, of course, 23 years old. But man, Cody Durden has been around the block. He's done everything. He's fought the best of the best. He's fought the who's who. He's a really good wrestler. He just beat Machinella in his last fight out. And Joshua Van, he kind of crapped the bed against oh man. Now I'm spacing his name too. It was a couple fights ago. Oh, Charles Johnson. That's who. Joshua Van, he looked good against Charles Johnson and then just gets flatlined in the third round. which is definitely nerve-wracking. And then I believe he just had a rebound fight. I don't remember who exactly, but overall, Cody Durden has a real good chance here. Joshua Van's keys to victory is takedown defense and just stick to his crisp boxing, which he has. He's phenomenal at boxing. His hands are really good. But at Cody Durden here at plus 135, I don't hate Cody Durden as an underdog here. Um, I think as far as a pick goes, the pick has got to be Joshua Van. But man, it's a very, very unconfident pick. I'm not confident in that pick whatsoever. Cody Durden has really good wrestling. Uh, honestly, he was outboxing Matt Schnell last time. But what he had to do is he had to really make it dirty. So it's kind of a similar fight for him where Joshua Van has really crisp high guard, clean striking. Cody Durden's got to get in there, make it absolutely dirty, make it dirty boxing. Get in on the legs, find the inside, work the body, find the takedowns. I think the takedowns are going to be just the one of the major keys to victories for him. If he can find the takedowns, I think he'll have some really, really good success against Josh Van here. And honestly, I see this fight going to a decision. I don't see Josh finishing Cody, and I don't see Cody. Actually, yeah, I don't know if I see Cody finishing Josh. Maybe by rear naked choke, but I do see this fight. I would imagine it's favored to go the distance, and I can see why. So maybe a Cody Durden like plus 3.5 is depending on what that line looks like. That might be the way to go, but and you're gonna get a good line where he's a plus 135 underdog as it is. A Cody Durden plus 3.5 is really a phenomenal bet there. So that's something I'll be looking at. Again, the pick will be Josh Van, but could definitely see Cody Durden pulling this one off. Moving on, we've got a rebooking of Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. Super sad we did not get to see this one play out at MSG just a couple weeks ago. We've got, of course, 40-year-old Chris Weidman versus 37-year-old Eric Anders. This fight I believe I had both Eric Anders and Chris Weidman on the DFS apps. I had both of them on their under significant strikes. I'd have to look and see what the lines were at, but I think Eric was in. They might have been both been in the 60s, and I just thought it was way too high. I think this is going to be a slower paced fight. I don't think the striking is going to be very good. I think Chris Weidman is going to want to go back to what he knows in the wrestling, but problem is Eric Anders, of course, is his own a great wrestler in his own right. However, I do tend to lean Chris Weidman on this one. The reason for that is Eric Anders has never really been that impressive to me either. I think Chris Weidman's he probably doesn't have the power that Eric Anders has, but I really think their striking is probably going to just cancel each other out. The striking on both sides is okay, not it's not bad. Chris Weidman has some slick boxing. He's got some good kicks when he trusts his legs, if you want to say that. Uh, but overall, I think it's going to come down to the race wrestling from Chris Weidman, and of course, the All American is his nickname. His wrestling is just really good. I think he's going to come in here. He's going to find clinch work. He's going to put the pressure and the pace on Eric Anders. Eric Anders is going to come out hot in the first round and probably start to die off. After that first round. I think Chris Weidman's going to take over here, and he'll probably win this by decision. However, I'm going to steer clear of, betting this one. Just reason for that is neither of these guys are very trustworthy. So betting this one as far as a money line, or how do I want to put this? As far as the sports books go, I'll steer clear. When it comes to the DFS plays, though, I'm going to be looking for their unders again. If those significant strike lines are in the 60s or higher, I'll probably be hammering the unders on those. So watch out for that. Maybe keep that in mind. But the pick here is going to be Chris Weidman. So we move on to, oh man, probably one of the best fights on the card, to be completely honest with you. And Randy Brown at a plus 205. I know Brian Battle is, on a pretty good run here, but Randy Brown's a good fighter. If he's a plus 205 here, I could see myself getting there. Reason for that is he's got the length, he's got the height advantage. He's a very well-rounded fighter. I will say the one thing that does kind of make me hesitate on Randy Brown is he is a slow starter oftentimes. Uh, and Brian Battle is not. Brian Battle is a very quick starter. Uh, and he's going to go out there. He's going to really find his timing quickly. He's going to work just about every dang weapon he has, punches, elbows, knees, kicks. He's going to find a takedown. He's going to threaten a takedown. He's going to work his clinch game. Brian Battle's really good all around. But Randy Brown has a real good shot of winning this. He's just got to start really fast, is all. I think, I tend to lean for a pick. I tend to lean towards Brian Battle just because he's really high volume, whereas Randy Brown isn't as high volume. Brian Battle has a lot of weapons. He uses his kicks really, really well. He's able to adjust in a fight, mid fight, really well. So I tend to lean Brian Battle for a pick here, but Randy Brown could absolutely, he's got heavy hands, he's got good striking, he's got he is 78 inch, he has a 78-inch reach, but it seems like he oftentimes has a longer reach than that just by the way he uses his length. So if Randy Brown can come out here with a stiff jab, keep Brian Battle all the way on the outside, even on the outside of his kicks, because I imagine his legs are way longer than Brian Battle's. Um, I mean, I'd be interested to see the face off on this, but Randy Brown's got to keep it really clean, got to keep it really, keep himself distance. If Brian Battle is able to find his timing, find ways to, just close the distance by a couple inches is all he needs, and he'll be able to land some good shots. So I tend to lean Brian Battle for a pick here, but at plus 205, Randy Brown is definitely a tempting bet. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated to see if I get there or not. I don't think I'll get there to Randy Brown, just because Brian Battle's been on such a tear. He's really a really good fighter. We'll see. So Brian Battle will be the pick here on this one. Moving on, we've got Mosvar Ivloev versus Aljamain Sterling. This one, I gotta be honest, I think they have the line wrong. Maybe not switch the line, but I mean, put it at a pick 'em at least. I mean, Aljamain Sterling, he's a former champ, defended the belt 3 times. He's 0 and what, 0 or 3 and 0 at featherweight. I mean, he is just freaking. He's a good fighter, and he is being so disrespected here. I get Evloev is good. He beat Arnold Allen in his last fight out. He has wins over guys like Diego Lopez, but he's just not a minus 245 favorite against Aljamain Sterling. Good. That's the way I look at it here. Um, I get he's good, but what disrespect that they're putting on Aljamain Sterling here. And frankly, my pick, get rid of the betting lines. My pick would be Aljamain Sterling. Sure, he's 35. He's 5 years older, but he has the grappling to absolutely cancel out most of our Evloev's grappling. 100%. He has the grappling to exterminate and terminate Evloev's grappling. So that leaves it up to the striking. And Aljamain Sterling has some tricky striking. It's not super, I would say, orthodox, but it's freaking good. He's a good striker. So I could see Aljamain Sterling winning this one. Really, 2020, 29, 28, maybe a 30-27 on the scorecards. At plus 200, I will definitely be making it to Aljamain Sterling's line here. I mean, former champion, number 7 in the world. He's got 3 and 0 and at featherweight. I mean, the disrespect on Aljamain Sterling here is pretty crazy to me. So I will be making it to Aljamain Sterling's money line uh in this fight card just because I don't think Mozar Evloev is really that good. So that's my pick. The pick is Aljo here. As we move on, we've got Vicente Luque versus Temba Garimbo. I love this fight for Temba. I really do. Vicente Luque just absolutely crapped the bed in his last one out against Joaquin Buckley, which Joaquin Buckley has made some strides. He just beat Wonder Boy. He's now fighting Colby Covington. He's really made some good strides. So, and we were told by Vicente Luque himself that he just gave up in that fight. So, we've got Temba Grimbo here, who is a really good wrestler. He does have some pretty quick hands, some heavy hands. He's the favorite at minus 210, which is kind of shocking to me. I'd put it closer to a pick'em, if not Vicente, a favorite. I imagine it's just recency bias is the only thing against these two. I do see Temba winning this one though. Temba Grimbo is a good wrestler. He'll be able to strike with Vicente as well. He's got an inch reach advantage on Vicente. I would imagine we just see another Temba Grimbo grind up against the cage, clinch work the whole fight, 29-28 or 30-27 from Temba. Overall, it's not going to be the most exciting fight on the card, but it should be a good one for Temba. So that'll be the pick. Will be Temba Grimbo for me anyway, probably by decision. All right. Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. Love this fight for Dominic Reyes, to be honest. I don't think he warrants a minus 340 favorite, but I do like the fight for him. It's probably going to be, there's a couple ways to look at it betting wise. I think there's two ways to bet this fight. You can bet it Dominic Reyes by KO or Anthony Smith by submission or decision. I think those are the ways that it's going to go. I don't know if Reyes wins this by decision, and if he does, it's going to be purely striking. If this hits the floor, Anthony Smith should be able to handle himself. But not a lot to say about it. I think Dominic Reyes is going to be able to find the chin of Anthony Smith. I think he's going to be able to defend the takedowns. I don't think he'll be shooting takedowns on his own, so he'll be able to keep the distance. Use his striking, and he'll be able to probably dominate Anthony Smith here. So if I was to play this, to get a better line, I'd be Dominic Reyes by KO most likely. So that's the pick is Dominic Reyes, and I hope so too. I love Anthony Smith, but I think I'd be happy to see Dominic Reyes get on a 2-fight win streak here. Let's see, this is not the featured bout. We've got Nate Landwehr versus Duho Choi. This is going to be a fight for the ages. Nate Landwehr he's been in wars is the only knock I have against the guy. So I really tend to lean Duho Choi here. Reason being is he looked really good against Bill Algeo in his last fight. Nate Landwehr, he did look good in his last fight as well, but it's just the level of competition. Bill Algeo is better than to be quite honest. I can't even remember Nate Landwehr's last opponent, but I do know that Bill Algeo is a better fighter than him, and Duho Choi just starched Bill Algeo. So I tend to lean Duho Choi here. It's going to be a really good fight. It should probably be a pick 'em. I don't know if I love Nate Landwehr as a favorite, but Duho Choi at plus 135, I don't mind. So that's probably the side I'll lean here. Lean Duho Choi for the pick, but it's going to be a war. I mean, what I would be looking on this one for betting perspective is I'd probably be looking at Nate Landwehr and both Duho Choi's striking lines to see what those are at on the DFS, and probably take the over depending on where they're at. Earlier in the week, they might be good lines. So I believe lines start to drop tomorrow, which I'm recording this on Sunday. So tomorrow will be Monday. Lines will start to drop then. And we'll see where their significant strike lines are. I'll probably be looking towards that on the DFS plays as opposed to money line bets on these, but I'll lean Duho Choi for the pick. Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. We'll see how this one's gonna go. I think Bryce Mitchell is probably gonna opt to strike here. He should be able to control where this fight goes. Minus 600 favorite. He's just a massive favorite. Again, I just hate to say that that's warranted for really anyone in the UFC. But it is Kron Gracie who's very inactive. His striking is not very good. Of course, we know his grappling is phenomenal. He's got multiple world champions in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and all those crazy grappling accolades. But the side here is definitely Bryce Mitchell. I think what I could see happening is Bryce just finding a takedown and playing it safe, just where his last fight ended up with against Josh Emmett. He got absolutely starched and started seizing, so he may not want to be on the feet here. But where Kron Gracie doesn't really have striking or power, who knows? Bryce Mitchell could opt to keep this on the feet. He could want to take it down. Where he's coming off that pretty nasty KO loss, I would imagine he just takes Kron Gracie down, uh, and just hugs him for 15 minutes. Probably wins by decision. I imagine he wants to play it pretty safe just because we all saw that nasty knockout. So Bryce Mitchell will be the pick here. It's going to probably be a boring one. I don't think anyone's going to find a submission here. If someone does find a submission, it's going to be Kron, just because he's so good in the jiu-jitsu world. So we'll see. It'll be an interesting fight, especially seeing where Bryce Mitchell is coming off that knockout. I'm not sure where or how he's going to take this fight. So we'll see for sure. Bryce Mitchell will be the pick, though. We have Cyril Gahn versus Alexander Volkov 2. Here we go. Paris versus Russia. This fight is probably going to go the way that it did, uh, however long ago it was, 2 years ago. I think they fought 2 years ago. I think it's going to go the same. Cyril Gahn won that fight. It was a 5 rounder. He won that fight by decision. The striking numbers were crazy. Both had over 100 significant strikes. But Cyril Gahn is he's just light on his feet. Um, we all know he moves like a welterweight. So the pick will probably be Cyril Gahn here. Would love to see Alexander Volkov win though. I Emotionally speaking, I really like Alexander Volkov, especially he's on a 3 fight win streak or 4 fight win streak right now, over Rosenstrike, um, uh, Havlovich, and then there's two others in there. One of them just got cut. Anyway, he's got a couple really good wins in there. Would love to see Alexander Volkov win this. I just don't think his speed is there though. Cyril Gahn's quicker, he's faster, and Cyril Gahn, he has pretty good grappling, complete garbage yeah, as opposed to John Jones as we saw in his last time out. But he came into the UFC and he started leg locking guys and arm triangles, and he was able to find some submissions. So the pick here will definitely be Cyril Gahn just because of how the last fight played out. Like I said before, Cyril Gahn's quicker. He's really light on his feet. The Taekwondo style, he bounces up and down on the balls of his feet. He's just really quick, super super fast jab. I just think he'll be way faster than Alexander Volkov. So Cyril Gahn will be the pick here. But again, I'm going to be heading back to the DFS plays for this one, and I'll be looking for their overs because I think this is going to be a striking battle. I don't think either guy is going to want to take it to the ground. If one of them does, it'll be Cyril Gahn. But I don't think he's going to want to because he'll be outstriking Alexander Volkov this whole fight. So the pick will be Cyril Gahn for me. But again, I'll be heading to the underdog fantasy, the better picks, the prize picks. I'll be heading to those apps looking at these guys as significant strikes. And if you can get on them early in the week, I'm telling you, the lines will be set really well. The underdog lines move really quick. So if we can get on their significant strike lines early, we should be able to get a pretty good line. So, but overall, the pick is going to be Cyril Gahn. Okay, hot take on this fight, the co-main event. I think Ian Machado Gary knocks out Shavkat Rakhmonov. I really do. Uh, and hear me out. So Shavkat Rakhmonov is supposedly the boogeyman of the division, and I think he is still. I've been trying to fade this guy though for quite a while. I took him against Jeff Neal, uh, but I actually took Wonder Boy over Shavkat. Reason for that is I don't know. He opted to stand and strike with Jeff Neal. And I thought that's what he was going to do with Wonder Boy as well. And Jeff Neal was able to catch him a couple times. So, I faded him against Wonder Boy. Of course, we all know how that went. But Ian Machado Gary is a different animal than Wonder Boy. He is what, 10 years older or 13 years older, or sorry, younger. He's 27 years old in the prime of his physical prime. He's 15-0. He has very similar wins to Shavkat Rakhmonov. The only difference in their wins is both of them 3 fights ago fought Neil Magny, and both of them won. 2 fights ago, they both fought Jeff Neal. Both of them won. 1 fight ago, Ian Machado Gary fought MVP. Shavkat fought Wonder Boy. So both very, very similar. Their last 3 fights are very similar. I just don't understand what the hype is on Shavkat Rakhmonov here. So to be quite honest with you, I mean the pick here pretty easily is Ian Machado Gary. He's got slick striking. We've seen he's been down in Brazil with Charles Oliveira and the shoot to box crew, and his grappling is really good. Uh, and then of course we do have Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's got good striking, but not as good as Ian Gary. Ian Gary will be able to outstrike this guy. it's really for Shavkat. It's take down Ian Gary or bust, to be honest with you guys. And I just don't think he'll be able to do that. And if he does, Ian Gary will be able to get back to his feet, defend submissions. He'll climb back to the cage. He'll work his way up, and then he'll get distance and he'll start striking again. He's going to chip away at Shavkat's leg. He is going to mix it in with the high kicks. He's got really heavy high kicks. I just don't understand the hype between behind Shavkat. I mean, I get it. He's a really good fighter, 18-0, has some really good wins, all finishes, all those awesome things. But Ian Machado Gary is really good. He is a really good fighter. And quite frankly, I think he wins this. I really do. It's probably going to be a KO or decision for Ian Machado Gary, but I think he wins this. He outstrikes Shavkat, and he'll be able to defend takedowns. And if he doesn't defend takedowns, he'll be able to get back to his feet safely, defending those submission threats from Shavkat. Uh, I think it's Ian Machado Gary all day here. Again, I think the only path to victory here for Shavkat is to get it down to the ground and ground and pound his opponent. But again, I just don't see that happening just because of the fact that Ian Machado Gary is down with Charles Oliveira. He's down with Diego Lima. He's down with that whole shoot to box crew, and he's a really good, well-rounded fighter. So give me Ian Machado Gary here for a hot take, but at plus 275, I'll definitely get to this line. I really think that Ian Machado Gary wins this. I truly do. So give me Ian Machado Gary for the pick here. I think he comes in and he wins this. He probably knocks out Shavkat Rakhmonov. So hot take, but there you go. Moving on to the main event, we've got Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura coming in making his UFC debut. He's a rising champion, a really good fighter, 31 years old. Then, of course, we've got Pantoja, who we all know. He's on a 9-fight win streak. He's got wins over. Let's see, that's not true. I believe it's what it is he's 9-0 against uh top 10 flyweights in the division. So he's looking really good. Even at 34 years old, he's still looking phenomenal. He just beat Steve Erceg in his most previous fight, which is a good win. Before that, it was Brandon Royval, and before that, it was Brandon Moreno. So all really good wins for Alexandre Pantoja. But I do worry for him here in this one against Kai Asakura. We see Alexandre Pantoja get hurt in every single one of his fights, and not only hurt, but usually hurt to the point where he's about unconscious. And oftentimes it'll happen more than once. He'll get hurt 3, 4 times in a fight and just walk through the punches. And I hate to say it, but there is an end to that. For at some point there is an end to those kinds of things. And I think Kai Asakura is the guy to do it. So at plus 200, I love the line for Kai Asakura. Uh, Kai Asakura has really, really heavy hands, just insanely powerful striking. And like I said before, Alexandre Pantoja gets hurt. So I think Kai Asakura will be able to hurt Alexandre Pantoja. And I think he'll be able to hurt him bad enough to put him away. I really do. All it's going to take for Kai Asakura is just one big shot. He's going to be able, Alexandre Pantoja can take him down time and time again. I think Kai Asakura will be able to protect himself from the submissions. He'll be able to be careful getting back to his feet. And when he does, he's going to let his hands go. He's going to land one, and he's going to probably put away Alexandre Pantoja. And then on top of that, who knows how much stock is put into this, but I was watching the sparring footage of him and Marab, and sure, it was light sparring, but he was defending takedowns from Marab really well. And we know how good of a wrestler Marab is. Alexandre Pantoja isn't as good of a wrestler as Marab. He has better jujitsu, but his wrestling isn't as good. So I think I got to go with Kai Asakura here for my pick. And again, he's an underdog. I think he's a really trustworthy underdog. Uh, sure, we haven't seen him technically at the UFC level before, but he's trained with UFC guys for the longest time. He's 21-4. He has a lot of fights. He's very, very skilled. He has really heavy hands, crisp boxing. I really think he KOs Alexandre Pantoja here. And I hate to say that because I love Pantoja. He's so fun to watch. He's so fun to, that his journey has been phenomenal to watch. When he won the belt against Brandon Moreno, it was awesome to see. Uh, but I think the time has come to fade Alexandre Pantoja. So I'll be getting Takai Asakura's money line at plus 200. I will absolutely be putting some money on him and probably put it to make the line even better. I'll probably just do Kai Asakura by knockout. And again, all it's going to take is one shot from Kai Asakura to put away Alexandre Pantoja. And in 5 rounds, in 25 minutes, he's got all the time in the world to land that shot, and I think he will. So for the official pick, give me Kai Asakura. And I will tell you guys right now, I will be getting to Kai Asakura, whether it's his money line or his KO or his KO line. I'll be getting to either one of those. So I think that's it for me, though. A lot of underdogs in my picks today here, boys. But I think a lot of them are going to be able to, they'll pull through. I think most are trustworthy, especially these bigger ones, Ian Machado, Gary, and Kaya Sakura. Maybe I'll even parlay those guys because I think both of them win. I really do. So, but yeah, there you have it. There's UFC 310 picks for me. Make sure to follow me on all social medias at Saucy Picks MMA. I'm telling you, boys, go to my bio on my Instagram, and I'll leave it here in the YouTube bio as well. But go download better Underdog and Prize Picks apps. I'm telling you, those apps are what make me my money. So I'll keep posting picks. I'll keep posting bets. But yeah, let's slap some heads. Last two cards of the year for us here, boys, and I'm excited. I really am. I think the underdogs are going to be barking this week. I think we're going to be able to find some really good spots on the DFS plays. Tell my picks, tell my bets. I'm telling you, we're going to make some serious change the next couple weeks. The goal, cross our fingers, is we're going to be 100 plus units by the end of the year. So there you have it. Again, follow me on all social medias. Go download those DFS apps. I'm telling you, they're going to make you some serious money. But yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for watching, and Saucy Picks MMA, we out.